Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with the IRS. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the offer and compromise and what you need to know. As of just a little about me, I worked at IRS for a decade. I've been in private practice for 4 decades. I've been doing this 50 years this August. I'm a national expert in IRS resolution matters. I should be right after 50 years. I have a whole team of former IRS agents on staff. Many of you have come to me. My 7,000 viewers have come to me because I've been on the national news a lot. You can see all my interviews. They're they're actually pretty good, some of them. I sit with some pretty famous people, and you can see my team of former IRS agents at 777irs.com. I do these videos to educate you, to give you insider information when I can. I'm going to do a little of that today. And I like to educate you so you can make a decision on what you want to do. You're coming to YouTube for a reason. You either want to do this yourself or you want to look to someone to hire, or really you could be just getting information. So as a former agent, I actually was a revenue officer and taught the offer and compromise program. I'm an expert in the IRS offer and compromise. No lie. There's a lot of people that say that, but I am. Peter Salinger in my office has worked over 2,500 offers and compromise. He was a former chief of the offer group in New York. So between the two of us, we know exactly what we're doing. So you better really listen to what I have to say. I want to give you this information to help you. There's a lot of people that can't afford to do it, and some of you can, but for those of you who can't, I want you to drill down on the two most important aspects of the offer and compromise. The offer is worked by a skilled revenue officer who knows exactly what they're doing, and as a former revenue officer, I used to look for the stink on the offers. What didn't make sense? So I want to tell you 3 things. The first is you've never heard about this unless you've listened to me and some of my casting, is that you need to write a cover letter with your offer, at least 1.5 pages with documentation. As a former revenue officer looking at offers, it's case after case after case after case. Oh, one just turns into other. You go to break, you don't even know which one you're doing. Write a cover letter, make your offer different, put it on colored paper, make sure it's extra font so people like me can read it. Put exhibits and documentation in there. Don't make it any two pages. It's your chance to colorize a boring offer on black and white paper. That's it. Say why you couldn't why couldn't pay, what happened. Just make the offer come alive. The offer and compromise specialist is going to drill down on 2 things. They want to know what your assets are. Can you sell them? Can you liquidate? If you have the money to pay the tax, but you don't want to and you have it in equity, IRS is not going to accept your offer. They just don't do that. If you have the money in say a pension or anywhere in your equity in your home and you just don't want to pay them because you think you're going to get out of the debt, they're not. IRS wants the payment in full. Don't waste your time. Don't give your money to anybody. The other thing that IRS is going to look at is your income to expense ratios. And IRS is going to apply what's called the national standards to your case. What is the national standards? The IRS National Standard Program simply says that IRS is not going to allow you to have the expenses you think that they're going to allow you. IRS, in fact, is going to go ahead and say these are what you're going to be allowed depending on how many are in your family, where you live, and your geographical location. When I say that, you have to know that you can find out what these standards are by going to Google and going ahead and putting in your search bar IRS National Standards for food and clothing, IRS National Standards for housing and utilities, IRS National Standards for car operations, National Standards for IRS car vehicle owner operation. IRS is going to dictate to you what you can spend. There's a given formula within that. You can look at my different YouTubes are out there, and they will calculate what your basic offer is. So understand that IRS is going to look at your income to expense ratio. They're going to look at the value of your assets, and there's a very specific formula that IRS will go ahead and use to determine your offer and compromise. If in fact you want to do this yourself, I suggest you Google offer and compromise formula. You'll go over there. You'll see exactly what that formula is. I have it on some of mine. I'm not going to spend the time on this video to do that. I just want to tell you the 3 points today of what you need to know. You also have to have all your tax returns filed, and you have to be making current estimate payments, or your withholding has to be sufficient in the year you're making your offer. If not, IRS is not going to accept your offer and compromise. Offers and compromise are the average agent spends at least 10 to 20 hours working their offer. IRS, to make that, is a formal contract between you and the federal government, and what goes goes. By the way, for the next 5 years after you make your offer, you have to file timely and you've got to be current. You're welcome to go ahead and you can give me a free. I can give you a free consultation if you want. Give me a subscription if you would. I pretty much told you enough about the offer to get started. One last thing, IRS has a pre-qualifier tool out. It's called the Offer and Compromise Pre-Qualifier Tool. It's pretty good. It gives you a basis for understanding whether IRS will accept your offer. I suggest you use it only after you give me a subscription. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time.